Good morning, friends. It's DeeDee Autry, one of the pastors at First United Methodist Church, and it is Saturday morning. It is only, less than 2 weeks away from Christmas, and so I'm at home this morning. It's quiet, and I've been kind of piddling around and finishing and some last minute decorations in my home, preparing for Christmas, wrapping some gifts, cleaning, of course, doing all those great things. And so I wanted to pop on and give you some encouragement as we kind of live into this Christmas season in a different way, in a different, just all kinds of things are different about it with us trying to remain safe and well in this pandemic. So we want to encourage you to create space at home for worship, and especially as Christmas rolls around and maybe you are choosing to remain home on Christmas Eve especially, but we want to help you think about what it might be like to create your own altar in your home. Now, I happen to love a lot of things that are sacred and special and have special meaning, and perhaps you do too. If you were to come to my home, most everything you see has a story behind it, either gifts that someone has given me or somewhere that I have traveled, or something that just has a significant meaning because of when I saw it, it spoke to me, or something that had been going on in my life at that time. And so you'll see here on my wall, I have, pictures of churches. And I guess that's one of the things about clergy is we tend to have a sweet spot in our heart for churches and what they represent to us. And so I have some things on my wall here, and these remain all year. This is just kind of the way I have this area set. This is the front living room in our house. Our tree is here in front of the window. So this is just kind of a special place that I can put out my pretty stuff and enjoy it and come sit in here sometimes and just be quiet and reflective and have a nice view out the front window. And so find a spot in your home that means something. This also, not that you can really see a lot of it, but the piece of furniture even that is here is a piece that my mother gave me that's an antique hutch. And so I enjoy it a lot too. And so that kind of began to set the stage. But I want you to think about what it might be like to set for yourself an altar, especially for Christmas Eve, but then even to think as we keep going, because we're not through this crisis in our world yet. And so why not create a sacred space in your home where you might worship, especially on Sundays. You could gather your family around, or even just yourself, whomever is there with you, where you might pray, where you might even write prayers and lay them on the altar, where you might light candles, where when we have communion in a virtual context, that might be where you put your elements, your bread, your juice. And so I'm just going to share with you kind of what I've done in light of Christmas Eve coming. And many of you are going to be celebrating Christmas Eve, the birth of the Christ child, at home this year. And so this is kind of what I've done. And all of this is to say you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. Just look around your home and see what you have. See what it makes you feel special or has meaning. And so that's kind of what I've done today. Is this morning I kind of just went around and collected a few things. I thought, how could I create all this to make a special altar for Advent and for Christmas Eve? So this is what I've done. I found a really special cloth that means something to me. It's all made out of silk. And so when I think about the birth of the Christ child and of course the coming of the Magi who brought him very special gifts, this kind of speaks to me has some royalty and some specialness. It's not something I can throw in the washing machine, but if I clean it, I have to be very careful about it to maintain its integrity and keep its shape and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of laid a special cloth here on the top of my hutch. And then I just went around and pulled out some candles that I have. They don't have to be purple or have a pink one like we do at church. They could just be candles you have in your home, but you know what they mean and you understand the significance of them. So that's kind of what I did. So I just went and I found 4 different candles that I thought would look kind of cool and I could use them. And you know what? One of them is even an electric candle, a battery operated candle these are amazing. We use them even a lot at church, but you know, if you have children, these are a great safety way to have those candles lit so that they're not going to tip over and something not's going to happen. So think about, you know, grab 4 candles because we celebrate 4 weeks in Advent. Of course, I have them all lit today, but on Christmas Eve, you would be lighting them all as well. But you know, even as we progress through that season of Advent, as you know, we light 1 each week to represent different things. So I have 4 of those. And then for my Christ candle, which is always the one in the center, and I kind of have mine, you know, my other 4 kind of circled around them. But I thought, you know, I want to choose a candle that's fragrant, that smells wonderful. And so yeah, I found one of my Bath and Body Works candles that I love, and I like lighting them all the time. But this one, the scent is fresh balsam. And so it kind of just pulls me into thinking about that stable where Jesus was born. The smell of balsam is just, I don't know, I just always love the smells of nature. And so having a fragrant candle may mean something to you. So I chose that for my Christ candle. And then I began to just think of other little things that have meaning to me. So a friend of mine once gave me this little crown, and I thought, you know, Christ is our King, and a king is being born. And so I just kind of set that little crown there in front of my candle, my Christ candle, just to kind of give it some significance to me. And then I have lots of nativity sets, and you know, being a pastor, we've moved around a lot, and depending on the house that I'm in or the space that I have, I don't always have the space to put them all out. And so I don't necessarily have a lot of that space here in this home that we're in, but I pulled out one that I've had since my children were little, and it's just this wooden kind of cutout of the nativity. And so it's Mary and Joseph, the baby, there's a sheep, and there's the donkey, of course. And so I just kind of set that there to remind me of the beauty of this night, the beauty of Christ coming, being born among us. And so I have that there for my time of reflection and remembrance and celebration for this season. And then over here, I found an angel that I love as well. This is another thing that I've had since my children were little. A special friend made that for me, and so I placed an angel because, you know, we talk of the angels singing in the highest heavens when Jesus was born, and how the shepherds heard their call, and it's the angels who told them to go and look for the Christ child. And so that angel has a special connection for us as we recall the story of Christ's birth. And then over here I have just a place for me to have communion, and so I have a chalice. And you know, this is a chalice that I was given when I was ordained. So it's a special chalice. I've kind of carried this with me for 30 years now. And so I pulled that out. But you know what? You can just pull out any kind of cup or glass or whatever that can just hold that grape juice for you, or even if you're going to use the little prepackaged ones that we provide for you, it doesn't matter, but maybe you just have something as a symbol, you know, whatever kind of just makes sense for you, whatever, even let your children pick out something. So I have this chalice that means a lot to me. And then I have a little plate. So recently I love cardinals, especially at Christmas time. I have in my den, it's pretty much decorated with tons of cardinals in the red. And so I have this plate that has cardinals on it. And you know, there's a legend that when you see a cardinal, it means that there's a message from heaven coming to you from either someone that you love who has passed, or I think the cardinals just give me lots of comfort and reassurance from God. Have a great story sometime. Maybe I'll tell you about my experience with the cardinals. So I thought, well, I will pick this plate, and you know, on Christmas Eve when we celebrate Holy Communion, you know, my family can place some bread on here, crackers, whatever we seem to be able to find or want to use. It doesn't matter. It's the act of it all that matters. It's not necessarily if there's a correct correct bread or not. But we're going to be giving you some thoughts about that as well. So I would place that bread here on this little plate, and then I just, I found a little cross that a friend of mine gave me. It's from an artist in Little Rock. But she gave me this, and kind of like the red, and but just to remind me of why this all matters, the beauty of that in our midst. And so I just kind of placed that there. And so, that's really what I've done. And, you can do that however you want. Maybe you want to make an Advent wreath where you, get some greenery and make it in a circle and depict it the way you see it at church or in other ways. Maybe you have a kind of a circle kind of candle container holder thing that you can use. However, I just encourage you to be creative and to just invest some time to think about that and what that means. And for me, the reason I love to decorate or to move things around to give me kind of that visual joy is just that. It brings me peace. It brings me happiness. Like I said, a lot of the things I have all have some connection to people I love and care for, or memories or places I've been. And so it just kind of keeps me grounded and connected, when I view them. And so that's really what an altar is all about, is that not only are we giving our adoration and our praise to God on that altar, and we're setting a place to make it sacred and special, to remind us that God is in our midst, that Christ has come among us. All of those things are so important, and you can do that. And so I just encourage you to look through what you have and find the connections and the meaning and the purpose of the things you have, and create that sacred space. And then even as we move past Advent and Christmas, consider what it means to have an altar in your home all the time, a place where you place your prayers, a place where you sit and ponder God's presence in your life, or a place where you pray. Maybe you're able to kneel down and be in God's presence there. However, it's a beautiful thing, and it is an ancient tradition within the Christian church for us to create those spaces in our home that give God's presence in our home as well, just like we do in our churches. And so I hope you'll have fun with it. I would encourage you to send us pictures. Snap a picture of your altar that you create, post it on our Facebook page, so that we can celebrate and see what you have created and the spaces that you have designed. And like I said, get your children involved, get your grandchildren involved, have fun with it, and let's make this Christmas certainly one we won't forget for a long time, but may it be the most blessed time for you. May you feel ever close to God. May the coming of the Christ child fill you with God's hope, peace, joy. May you just be wrapped, just as Christ was wrapped in the swaddling clothes, laying in a manger. May you too be wrapped in God's love in these days of Christmas. God bless you. Have a great day.